Hey y'all, I'm Miss Katie and I am going to show you today a way to preserve eggs that you can have these very eggs. You can eat this egg a year from now. This is a requested video from several of my friends out there, so I hope that you will enjoy this process. It is a very quick and easy process. I'm going to show you what you need and how to preserve these eggs. Thanks for being here today. I am Miss Katie and this is Heritage Ways. Let's jump right in. First, you're going to need a set of scales. Now, I used to think I didn't need scales in the kitchen, but since I've been making sourdough and it's best to weigh the flour and the ingredients with scales rather than measure. Also, with this particular process, I find a set of scales to be helpful. Essential almost. I got this at Goodwill years ago. And since then I've seen them at Goodwill. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. This is kind of a cheap one as far as, you know, it's not all fancy. You're going to need pickling lime. This is the same kind of pickling lime that you buy in the canning section, the preserving section of your grocery store or your whatever store you buy it at or buy it on bulk. But this is pickling lime, and I have written on the side P lime and the date, and then I've also written the proportion, the ratio of what we're about to do today. So that's how I store that. I need clean jars to preserve these eggs. Farm fresh eggs. Now you cannot do this with store-bought eggs, but if you have eggs, if you have chickens, you keep chickens, and you have eggs, you can do this. You can preserve the eggs. Or if you have a friend or neighbor, or you have a place you can get farm fresh eggs, unwashed. That is essential. The reason you want unwashed eggs is because eggs come from the chicken with something called the bloom on it. And you have to wash it off to get the bloom off. And it's just a natural protectant. They have to be clean from the coop. So you can see this one, I mean, all these, we don't wash any of our eggs at all when we bring them in from the coop. And this is, you know, clean as a whistle. Some of the eggs are not as clean. Some of them have, you know, shavings or poop or whatever on them. You do not use those for this process. I want to reiterate that. You do not wash the eggs and then do this process. Okay, you have to have the unwashed, naturally clean eggs. That's really important, and I'm stressing it because I talked to a friend the other day, a couple friends of ours, and you know, they were thinking that you could wash the egg and then do this. So no, you need to have clean from the coop, unwashed eggs to do this. Use your dirty eggs to wash and then cook with or whatever to consume. Also, as a side note, two tips. You do not have to refrigerate unwashed eggs. We leave these sitting out for, you know, weeks at a time until we use them. You do not have to refrigerate them as long as you haven't washed them. And also, you need to store your eggs with the point, not point, but the smaller side pointed downward. And somehow it makes the egg last longer. So when we share eggs with our friends or, you know, give eggs away or whatever, sell eggs, then we always, and in our house, have the point side down. So that's just a little tip. I'm no scientist, y'all. I don't even love science. You know, the only science I love is the science called cooking. So I don't know why that is the way that is. You can look that up if you're interested. All right, to keep the video kind of concise and short, I want to tell you that this is typical out in the world right now of homemaking and homesteading. This process is called water glassing eggs. But from what I understand, technically, this is not water glassing eggs. Technically, this is called lime preserving eggs. Now, why it's called water glassing instead of lime preserving, I'm not sure why that misuse of that name, but does it really matter? I mean, I will do some research on the internet. I will try to find a water glassing versus lime preserving article for you to read if you're interested. And if I find that, I will post that down in the description box of this video. Down below the video, there is an entire section where I have listed resources and all of our wonderful patrons who support our work, and all kinds of things, links to our community newspaper and to all sorts of places that I think will help you, resources. So down below, I will, if I find it, I will link an article for you to read, water glassing versus lime preserving. So we are using lime. This is technically called lime preserving eggs, but like I said, a lot of people say water glassing, so I might use the terms interchangeably. It is said that these eggs can last, I have read, anywhere from 6 months to 2 years is what I've read. When I preserve these eggs, which I have down in my larder, I write on a piece of tape, I write the month and the year that I preserved them. And then I will use, I'll rotate them that way and I'll use them. And I plan to use them within a year's time. So, like I said, I see different time frames on that. So what I have here is just some leftover lime water, if you want to call it that. My friend Dunya in the Netherlands was asking about what is lime water. And basically that's just the lime and the water. So it's just the pickling lime like you would use to make preserved pickles and so forth. So this is just some leftover I had from last time. It was unused, extra, and I don't like to waste things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pour this extra into this jar. So I'm going to put my half-gallon jar up here. This is 2 quarts. And this is just what I mix my lime water in. And I'm going to hit tare, T-A-R-E, because that just means to balance it out to 0. Okay? And then I need 2 ounces of pickling lime. I'm going to change this from grams over to ounces. Okay? I don't know, I may or may not need my funnel for this. And you do not want to inhale. This is a big caution. You do not want to inhale this. And if you have little children helping you, you don't want their noses at this level. And you want to make sure you don't have a lot of flyaway up here. So just know that. This is not something you want to inhale. 2 ounces is what I'm going for on my scales there. All right, we're exactly 2.0. That's great. I'm going to go ahead and put my lid back on this. And I store this away from anything that might look like itself. I don't want somebody to think it's cornstarch or anything. I store it away from all that. Okay, now we can just take the scales away. And we're going to add 2 quarts of water, which is basically filling this up. This is pure water from my Berkey. You see that coming up there, that dust. This is pure water from my Berkey. That's all we use for our food and consumption. I think there's a link down below for you to check out a Berkey if you're interested in what we use. See, I think I breathed a little bit in inadvertently. And I'm just going to set my clean eggs down in here. Now, a lot of people, you kind of have to, as my father-in-law used to say, you have to hold your mouth right. You have to kind of finagle and if your hand won't fit, if the mouth isn't wide. This is how I do it. A lot of people will use like a 5-gallon bucket maybe. Here, I'm trying to get them down in there. Maybe this mouth of this jar is not ideal. But a lot of people will use like a 5-gallon bucket and they'll put so many eggs in there. Well, here's the thing. So I don't want them to crack. Because these are raw, by the way. I should have said that. There we go. Some of them have a little tiny smear of poop or some bedding or something. I'm not going to use those. Anyway, I don't want to use a 5-gallon bucket because if one cracks, then it makes the whole thing go bad. Okay, what I'm going to do now so that they'll kind of float around a little bit and help me out is I'm going to add some liquid. And I know some people fill it up with liquid and then they put their eggs, but I'm just showing you what's worked best for me. I mean, this is really all there is to it, y'all. This is all there is to it. And just know, I'll add some more liquid in a minute. Just know that that powder, that lime is going to settle and that's fine. That's going to happen. Looking for completely clean eggs, uncooked, unwashed. If it has the slightest piece of trash at all, you know, I don't even use it. Even if it's flickable, even if you can get it off. Our eggs are typically clean. 15 eggs. And this is it. This is it. So if you just want to, you just label them and put them in your storage area. They're good to go. Now I fill it up all the way. You don't want anything floating. That's it. That's how you do it. And I will tell you that this I will just save. And this is going to be my liquid so that the next time I have enough eggs, 15 or so, I can just pour that in there and then I can make more. I truly hope this was helpful for you today, water glassing or lime preserving eggs. And it's a great way to have eggs if you have an abundance. Why would you want to do this? Well, somebody's asked me that. Why would you want to do this? Well, if you have your own chickens and you have an abundance of eggs during a certain time of year and you can't use them all or don't want to use them all, and you know that you're going to have not that many come wintertime or later in the year, or you're butchering your chickens or whatever reason, then you're going to be happy that you have eggs sitting on the shelf. Oh, these do not have to be refrigerated either. Just set them on the shelf. So you're going to be happy you have them, because you know what? We all know in this day and age, you never know what's going to be or not going to be at the grocery store or how much it's going to cost. So I hope this was helpful to you today. I hope you're counting your blessings. And I also hope that you'll go visit my website at HomeHeritageHope.com. We'll talk to you later. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.